What is the most valuable object in the world? Is it a diamond, a painting, or is it something that represents the hopes and dreams of an entire nation? This solid gold statue, awarded to football's greatest champions, was stolen not once, but twice. The first time, it was found by a dog. The second time, it vanished from the face of the earth. The official story, it was melted down for scrap gold by common criminals. But what if that story is a lie? What if the greatest treasure in sports history is sitting in a private vault right now, and a 40-year conspiracy has been hiding it? This is the story of the lost Jules Rimet Trophy, and the shocking new evidence that suggests everything you know about its disappearance is wrong.
To understand the loss, you must first understand what was lost. Created in 1929, the Jules Rimet Trophy was more than a prize. It was a symbol of global unity after the First World War. The figure of Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, holding an octagonal cup, stood 35 centimeters tall and weighed 3.8 kilograms. But its journey was never peaceful. During the Second World War, to keep it from falling into the hands of the Nazis, an Italian football official named Ottorino Barassi hid it in a shoebox under his bed. Imagine that! The world's most coveted sports award stored in a cardboard box. Its next great drama came in 1966, when it was stolen from a public exhibition in England just months before the World Cup. The nation was scandalized. The police launched a massive manhunt. A week later, a dog named Pickles found it wrapped in newspaper under a hedge in South London. The dog became a national hero. But many investigators at the time, and even FIFA itself, began to suspect a switch had been made, that the trophy returned to circulation was a brilliant replica, and the real Jules Rimet was still missing. This theory would become the first thread in a much larger conspiracy. After Brazil won its third World Cup in 1970, they earned the right to keep the trophy permanently. It was a point of immense national pride. They built a bulletproof display case for it in the headquarters of the Brazilian Football Confederation in Rio de Janeiro. They believed it was home, safe forever. They were wrong. December 19th, 1983. The building was closed for the night. The only person inside was the night watchman. The trophy sat in its case on the third floor. The case had a fatal flaw. The front was bulletproof glass, but the back was simply wood. At approximately 9 p.m., 2, maybe 3 men entered the building. They knew the watchman's routine. They knew the layout. They knew about the wooden backing. This was an inside job. They overpowered the guard, tied him up, and used a crowbar to pry open the back of the case. They took the solid gold Jules Rimet Trophy. They also took 2 other lesser rewards, but they left behind an identical replica of the Jules Rimet that was stored in a nearby closet. They knew exactly which one was the real one. By the time the police arrived, the thieves were gone. The nation of Brazil was plunged into mourning. President João Figueiredo called it a national tragedy. The headlines were unanimous in their despair. The Brazilian Football Confederation offered a reward, but no credible leads emerged. The initial investigation focused on former employees. They arrested 2 janitors, but had to release them without charge. The case was going cold. Then, the first major break came. Police identified a gang of 4 men they believed were responsible. Sergio Pereira Aires, the alleged mastermind, Francisco Rivera, an ex-policeman, José Luis Vieira, and a safecracker named Antonio Seta. Seta was the key. He was the one who could open anything. But when police brought him in for questioning, he told a strange story. He admitted he was approached for the job, but he claimed he refused. He said he was too much of a patriot to steal Brazil's greatest treasure. The police didn't believe him. They were sure he was involved. And then, the story took its first dark turn.
The official narrative, pushed by the police and media, was that the thieves were low-level criminals who panicked. The story goes that they took the trophy to a gold dealer in Rio named Juan Carlos Hernandez, who melted it down in his foundry and sold the gold bars. This theory is convenient. It ties everything up in a neat little bow, but it is full of holes. First, and most importantly, the Jules Rimet Trophy was not solid gold. It was sterling silver, plated with gold. Melting it down would have yielded a relatively small amount of valuable metal, maybe $20,000 worth at the time. The risk was astronomically higher than the reward. These were not stupid men. They knew what they had. Second, the alleged gold dealer, Hernandez, was never convicted of any crime related to the trophy. No traces of the trophy's unique alloy were ever found in his foundry. Shortly after the theft, however, he did suddenly become very wealthy, buying a luxurious estate. Third, and most chilling, is the fate of the suspects. Antonio Seta, the safecracker who claimed he refused the job, died in a mysterious car accident in 1985, just days before he was scheduled to meet with investigators again. The mastermind, Sergio Pereira Ayers, died of a reported heart attack in 2003, shortly after being released from prison for an unrelated crime. Another suspect, Francisco Rivera, was shot to death in a bar in 1989. The only suspect still alive, Jose Luis Vieira, has maintained his innocence and claims the real story is far bigger than anyone knows. This pattern of deaths feels less like coincidence and more like cleanup. So if it wasn't melted down, what happened? There are three prevailing theories. Theory 1, the inside job. What if the trophy was never in the case that night? What if it was already gone and the theft was staged to collect insurance money or to cover up its sale by someone inside the football association? This would explain the bizarre security flaw and the precise knowledge of the thieves. Theory 2, the private collector. The trophy was stolen to order for an ultra-wealthy, obsessive football fan who wanted the ultimate prize for their private collection. It would be impossible to ever sell it on the open market, but for a certain kind of person, owning it is enough. This theory is supported by Interpol, who have investigated several leads suggesting the trophy was smuggled to Europe or Asia. Theory 3, it's still in Brazil. Some believe the trophy was hidden by the thieves and never made it out of the country, that it was buried or stored in a safe place, waiting for the heat to die down, but the subsequent deaths of the thieves meant its location died with them. For 40 years, these theories have swirled, but now, new evidence has come to light.
The case was reopened in the early 2000s, but went nowhere. The official line remained melted down. But in the last 5 years, new technology and new testimony has shattered that story. First, digital forensics. A team of archivists, using high-resolution scans of every known photograph of the trophy, created a perfect 3D digital model. They mapped every scratch, every dent, every unique imperfection. They concluded the trophy Brazil had was almost certainly the original. But they also created something more important, a perfect fingerprint. If the trophy ever appears, we can now authenticate it beyond any doubt. Second, a deathbed confession. In 2021, a former Rio police officer, on his deathbed, told his family that the melting story was a fabrication pushed by powerful people. He claimed the trophy was smuggled out of the country to Argentina within days of the theft and later sold to a European collector. He named names, but those records remain sealed. Third, and most compelling, is the photograph. In 2023, an anonymous source emailed a Brazilian sports journalist a series of grainy, dark photographs. They were taken, the source claimed, in 1994. The photos show a gold statue on a velvet cloth. The source claimed it was sitting in a private vault in Switzerland. The photos are too dark and blurry to be definitive proof, except for one thing. The digital forensic team analyzed the base of the trophy in the photo. There is a distinctive pattern of 3 small scratches next to the engraving Brazil 1970. This pattern is a perfect match for a known documented imperfection on the original Jules Rimet Trophy, visible in photographs from the 1970 World Cup victory celebration.
a detail so small, no forger could possibly know to replicate it. The likelihood that this is a random coincidence is virtually zero. This suggests one incredible truth: the Jules Rimet Trophy survived.
So where is it now? The most likely scenario is that it was indeed stolen by a skilled crew who immediately sold it to an intermediary. That intermediary, connected to international organized crime or the black market art world, then sold it to a private collector in Europe, where it has remained hidden away for decades. The stories of it being melted down were a convenient way to stop people from looking. The deaths of the suspects ensured no one could talk. The case remains officially open, but inactive. The truth is out there. It's in a vault in Switzerland or Monaco, or tucked away in a mansion in the English countryside. It is football's greatest ghost, a symbol of victory that became a symbol of mystery, the lost Jules Rimet. It's waiting to be found. Maybe someone watching this right now has seen it. Maybe you've heard a story. Look at this enhanced image of the base. Remember those 3 scratches? If you ever see them, you'll know what you're looking at. You'll be looking at history.
This has been the story of the lost Jules Rimet Trophy. If you have any information, the case is still open with the Brazilian Federal Police. Subscribe for more mysteries of the beautiful game. And remember, some secrets are only secrets until someone decides to tell the truth.